Whew, 7 Days of Spinning, Volume 3. Actually, look at this archive thing. So, like, if this is an indication as to how far we are in the game, I guess right now we're about, like, a little bit over 25%. Let's just say 27. Yeah. Okay, that is good to know. Or after doing these two, at least. So, Volume 3. Oh, these two had pictures. What's this? Ew, we're getting some more magic. What is that? I don't know. It's the moon. Are we actually gonna see more of like the lead up to the fight? I'd be so down for that. Chicka chaka chicka. Oh my god. Whoa. Wait, what? We're getting robots in our magic? Good morning. What? That's an eyeball. Okay, so we're just getting a lot of settings, you know, fixed at the moment. I do know nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide. What the heck is theoretical fifth element? Local space-time discrepancy. Huh. Okay, class 1 threat. Now it begins. You must protect the robot. Misaki City was a thickly wooded area. Urban development continued unabated, but Mother Nature still drew breath in its outskirts. Wise old trees had returned to lumber. The leaves had begun to turn to mulch. Even though the birds who curiously tilted their heads had moved on, the verdure lived on, a testament to its enduring strength. Until a time came that was devouring the light of civilization became powerful enough to encroach upon nature's mysterious domain. Those woods were no exception. The outlying border between Misaki City and Misaki Hills had been left untouched. Though driven from their nest and den here, wildlife continued to subsist even today. No longer able to return to the days before man, this was just like any other forest situated next to a town. Oh, we heard this song before. I think that's Alice, yeah. I think we heard it when Alko was having the fight and Alice was essentially setting up the barrier. Winter had arrived in the woods. The chill cut like a razor. The icy air was so thick it could reach to one's bone. I think that's a little bit wrong. I don't know. Exposed cheeks stiffened, and the wisps of breath formed swirls in the air before disappearing. It was 1 degree. Damn, it was only 1 degree above freezing. Oh, that's cold. So that's 33 degrees Fahrenheit. No, 34 degrees Fahrenheit. The cold snap penetrated every nook and cranny of the woods, from the ground to the trees to the wildlife. The forest allowed nobody entry during the day. During the winter, it willed the animals to slumber. The still evening air felt like the stagnant breath of the lingering dead. The forest consumed the moonlight, obscuring the sight of even the closest of precipices, and hastened the untimely doom of any soul unfortunate enough to become lost within. The only noise to be heard were the whisperings of the wind and the murmurings of the stream. The immortal darkness stifled any sense of life. Not even a breath of an animal, much less that of a person, was drawn in this place. However, a figure in black, not of this place, skulked within. It cast the tiniest, frailest of silhouettes, like a small boat lost in the sea of the fog. The trepidatious footsteps echoed throughout the woods. There, exiting the veil of trees, was an unmistakable likeness of a young girl.
To see such cleft undone away with the spoon.
来たぞ来たぞ。いるぞいるぞ。
What? Okay?
誰が誰が？誰と誰が？お腹は減ったの？お腹は鳴ったさ。
They look like two little pigs, I think.
どっちが食べる？どっちも食べる。君は左手。お前は右手。歓迎しないと。感激しないと。何しろようやく楽しいお客。ついでにお腹と頸骨も。せっかくだからよく噛まないと。
These crazy pigs. The shadows in the trees laughed ominously. A hallucination? An illusion? Or perhaps something real? The shadows frolicked in time to the girl's pace.
さあさあさあさあ。
Oh, would you look at this?
もっと奥へ。もっと奥へ。
I hope it pans up so we see your face.
ところでダイスは細工済み？
Oh, you can't rig the dice. You're using weighted dice.
お腹
Damn.
の重いローデッド。端っこかじったエッジワーク。どうでもいいけど肝心要の6の目だけは出さないように。
But that's where they're usually weighted. The girl knitted her eyebrows. She had heard voices and felt the presence of things that should not be. Scary enough to frighten this particular girl? As if. Her tightly pursed lips betrayed not a hint of fear. The girl walked of her own volition. If she had truly felt fear, her legs would be frozen. Deep within the trees, she was perfectly aware of the two humanoid figures, humanoid, stalking her through the still night air.
見たぞ見たぞ。来るぞ来るぞ。もう諦めろ。もう帰れない。あんなに教えてあげたのに。よそに消えないお前が悪い。
I don't know what I'm looking at. It says dumb. No, wait. No. The girl halted her steps. Racket from the accompanying voices died in turn. The babbling brook suddenly sounded like a crackling fire. And then, across the shallow stream, something appeared that should not exist in the city, much less the woods. Is this a slasher thing that they were talking about in like Konomi? Kinomi?
話のわかる人はいる？
The girl addressed them calmly. These men with their glass glow grins creeped towards her like two slugs.
そう。ただの墓守り。監視だけが仕事なのね。失敗したわ。これなら青子に任せればよかった。
This is peasant work.
け
The one grinning man stood still. The other, shaking violently as if unable to contain himself any longer, turned towards the girl.
青子にはまだ荷が重いわね。そんな姿だけど、あなたたちは一人前の魔術師のようだし。
Whoa! Her black outfit stirred. In her right hand, she held the I don't know that word. Vitreous cat, darker than the deepest night. Oh, that's the thing that was activated in the beginning of this. It was like it did have a cat eye, and I heard it go like ugh. So it's got the same voice too. The two Glasgow men let up a yell of caution and incoherent fear. It was at this moment they realized they fucked up. It was at this moment that they finally bared their intent and motion.
さようなら、お客様。きっと一瞬だろうから。お別れだけ言っておくわ。
Oh. The two shuddered at her words. They had no mouths, nor ears or brain to begin with. For creatures like these, words were redundant. All that existed was a present. For these soulless creatures, fears and hopes were nothing more than an unimaginable future. Then what could be this feeling of foreboding they felt? The spine-chilling miracle that would rip them to pieces, not moments from now.
さあ、ごっこ遊びをしましょう。お人形さん。
Whoa, whoa. Her song sounded like a bell, echoing through the white woods. The girl's voice vanquished the frost that had gripped the trees. Then... Whoa! Oh, the pigs were hers! Oh, the pigs were her! And the two things that were talking... the two things that were talking were hers, but the two things that she was referring to, the pigs were referring to, were the two things that she's staring at now. I see. Ah. Time for Red Riding Hood. Okay. The curtains opened on Diddle Diddle, the banquet of the night. In confusion, the one slit-mouthed man swooped towards the girl. In fear, the other fled into the woods behind him. Wow, this is probably the highest production value so far. The deformed humanoid darted forth, kicking up water as it rushed the girl. She already knew what this fiend was. The grinning figure had scissors for hands and a demon's heart. It was a wretch who kidnapped children, mercifully rendering them into pieces. Oh, it's Twiddle Dee and Twiddle Dong. So she has, whoa. She has a lot of fairy tale stuff. The piglet bounded and rebounded like paddle balls. The stuffed animals, over 3 feet in length, jumped and weaved their way between the trees. Ooh, the music's really good here too. It really sets it up. Oh, I actually really like this. Even with these strange creatures before him, the grinning man did not so much as blink. He raised his arms, but what emerged from his coat sleeves were not the human appendages you would expect. In their place, fiendish cleavers, more than 1.5 feet in length. These appendages, which had torn so much of their prey to pieces, sliced cleanly through the flying pig skulls. But it didn't matter. His limbs froze in place. The pigs' bodies were sliced perfectly in half. And then, bisected from head to tail, the pig's innards became as an alligator's jaw and clamped down on the grinning man's arm. From fingertips to shoulders, they're swallowed whole. It was all it took to rob the man of control over his entire body. Oh. Another shiver of fear. These were no mere pig familiars. Immediately, he realized thatese were stapler monsters, disguised as mere pigs. Wait, it's falling down. Impossible! Its presence murmured 3 times. Not possible. Not possible. Not possible? Talking pigs were one thing. Even having one's arms chopped off was in the realm of occupational hazard. In an instant, the woods was enveloped in a dense wave of magical energy. Though vexing, it was still impressive. None of these facts were particularly extraordinary. These rare familiars, their bizarre attacks, the sheer innate magical energy to overwhelm others. He had experience with all of these things. His employer was skilled enough to achieve all of this as well. However,
どうするどうするいつまで放置手足一本まばたきだって贅沢だお支払いは面倒でもできればポンドでお願いします
what were they? Not vessels, not living creatures, not beings powered by magic circuits. Even though only his arms had been bitten, none of his body would move. It was nothing like being bound or weakened. This felt more like he had become words written in a book, fated to keep their page. As the grinning figure deformities indicated, he had overcome numerous curiosities and monstrosities. Illusions, enthrallments, compulsions, freezings, putrefactions, I'm sorry, I don't know that word either, and even petrifications, a power granted to only the pinnacle of mystic eyes. From poisons to magecraft, he had withered a great deal. Weathered. But this was something different altogether. The penalty that bounded him now was based on the different principles from blood, flesh, oxygen, or heat. It was an unknown restraint that followed no rules he knew. Indeed, though it was terrifying to admit, it was as if he encountered something alien to everything in this world. Shut the book, and you're done. Fangs sank into his left and right shoulders. For the first time in this form, he felt a rage seething up inside him. The basis of all things had to be absolute. All mystics, all things bizarre, obeyed some set of laws. But these pigs ignored this, along with his dignity.
さあ3日で衰弱6日で溺死半年経てば惨めな骸骨でもご無礼面倒だから今殺そうか
What? Okay. A howl. Though he had no voice, he let out an exasperated scream.
なんて便利自分の腕を外せる機構お前こそ三国一のマナフよ
Run away! Run away! The talkative pigs fell into the stream. That exasperated scream was the sound of a figure tearing his arm from their socket. Armless, he rushed the girl.
役立たず後でお仕置きが必要ね
Useless swine! Okay, no, okay, I was wrong. That's the robot eye, of course, were the robots. Whoops. I thought she had a cat thing that had the same eye thing. He may have lost his oh wait, no, the thing that made the voice that time when she whipped out the thing was the machine's voice. I should have clicked. He may have lost his mangled arms, but not the object of his malice. A mystic eye to pierce the heart of its victims. A magic circuit designed to stop the beating heart. It was beautiful in its simplicity. At point-blank range, it was equivalent of an unavoidable shotgun blast. What? Huh? Just look at this. Look at how badass she is now. But tragically, the eye was all he had. Oh, she's moving back.
Beauty up is wood and clay, wood and clay, wood and clay. Beauty up is wood and clay, my fair lady.
He failed to realize that her song had changed. Oh, he's dead. For the giant, the earth-shattering strike was akin to the act of shooing away an insect. Its green verdant veins pulsed. Oaken bark covered its body, hardened sufficiently over centuries to repel even a chainsaw. On its forehead, inscribed all the manners of colors, was a word emeth. Though judging from its misspelling, the inscription was purely decorative. Whoa. That is a giant thing. Wow. The Themis Troll. He also went by the moniker Falling Down, or alternatively, the Great Bridge. Admired in different forms, it was the first of 4 miracles. So, it's not like fairy tales that's her powers, but like certain songs, I guess? Admired in different forms, it was the first of 4 miracles.
テムズ、もう一体をお願い。
The giant responded to the girl's words. With roots rented deep into the earth, it raised its left arm to the heavens without moving a step. Squished. Elsewhere in the forest, the grinning figure who had chosen to flee the battle was running through the night forest at full speed. Record and provide a detailed description of the enemy. Those were the orders assigned to him. He poured all of his energy into escaping this force with which he had become so familiar. In case of emergency, the plan was for one to challenge the enemy while the other made a tactical retreat in order to report to their master. He dashed through the forest. Though gripped by fear, he was confident in his ability to perform the mission he was designed for. Nothing could catch him in these woods. Even the wolves could not track him. His bird-like legs thumped as they kicked the ground. Perhaps it was his creator's eccentric taste that dictated their form when optimizing them for running. The grinning man could reach a maximum speed of 45 miles per hour, well past the limit of any bipedal creature. After securing the distance of several miles, he turned around to confirm his safety. There was no sign of pursuit. The crescent-shaped mouth eyed slackened in wait, what? The crescent-shaped mouth eye slackened in relief. And then it was actually from above. After facing forward once more, he looked up to lock eyes with his doom.
London Bridge is broken down, broken down, broken down.
In the distance, he could hear the dark rhythms of Mother Goose. Countless vines extended from the ground. They formed into a monstrosity that conjured up images of an arched bridge, something resembling a giant's arm. It's Gumma Gumma no Gear 3.
London Bridge is broken down, my fair
Wow.
lady.
He made a giant mech out of wood. Survival, unable to complete.
解析は困難。転送は困難。状況を終了します。はあ。主よ、どうかこの身を守り。
Ah, and that is dead. That was an intense fight. Damn. Is that gonna be the end? Okay. Wow.
済んだよね。お疲れ様。戻ってテムズ。次はもっと高価な場所ならいいのだけど。
The girl turned on her heel. The invaders who had set up the shop in the woods were eliminated. She had no interest in whether they had been good or evil, nor how many victims they had claimed. Wow. She is such a powerhouse. The shackles of civic society held no sway over her. This was a way of a pure-blooded witch, the way of the mindster.
僕たちは？ねえ、僕たちは？
You suck!
この腕抜けないんだけど。噛んだままだと僕らも動けないっていうかさ。ひどい。飛べない豚に用はないと。次はお役に立ちますきっと。生まれてこの方失敗続きの僕らだけど。壊れるまでに一度くらいは褒められたいね。
She's like, oh God, you are useless to me. The girl let out a sigh and stepped into the stream. She removed her gloves and dipped her slender fingers into the ice water.
6の目は出すなって言うけど、6の目しか出ないようになってるわよね、あなた。
There was no response to her melancholy tone. In place of the once boisterous pigs were 2 black dice, now sitting there in the palm of her hand. Huh. Ah. As the girl was about to say something to the scattered remains around her, she realized something that made her put her hand to her mouth.
お別れは済ませていたわね。目ぐらいは聞いておくべきだったかしら。
Her slender pale fingers traced her lips, as if reluctant to part from them. Sighing again, she calmly left the dark woods the same way she had entered. Ah, wow, that was really cool. Oh man, this is gonna be a really long episode, but now that we're on volume 4, I am committed. Wow, 7 days of spinning. I don't know what spinning is, but that was really interesting. Okay, I think we're going back to Soujuro this time, maybe. Let us rewind a moment in the recent past. The scene took place on a Sunday on a Sunday morning. Well, I don't know why I said afternoon. In early December. With third period over just before lunch, the only activity that remained before the scholastic day ended was homeroom. 2 of Class C students, Sojiro Shizuki and Hosuke Kinomi, were standing outside on the balcony overlooking the schoolyard. They were stuck waiting for their homeroom teacher, Mr. Kazuki Yamashiro, and could not leave until he arrived. The rest of their classmates were chatting idly in the classroom. Class A's Tobimaru Tsukiji was killing time alongside them. Yep, I recognize that silhouette. The listless trio discussed their weekend plans as they leaned on the veranda's railing.
木の実はベアでアルバイトか？バカ、誰が日曜まで働くかったよな。明日はほら、B 組の子たちと遊びに行く予定だったんだけどな。なんかうちから出られねえ。
Ah, unfortunate.
それはつまりまた振られたのか？うわ、直撃！言いづらいことをまっすぐ言うよね、しずきくんってば。
そりゃ毎日てめえのバカ面見てればひよこだって振られるって言葉を覚えるだろうよ。自滅するのは勝手だけどな。くれぐれもその字に変な遊びを教えんなよ。
Oh my god, he's looking out for his boy. He likes him so much.
はあ？そりゃ殿下の方じゃねえの。気ぃつけろよ、しずき。築地はマジで腹黒いからよ。こいつの頭の中はほら、あれ、ゴミ捨て場の張り紙？あんな感じだから、くっきり使えるもんと使えないもん分けてんだよ。
He did mention that to himself before. Yeah.
ああ、それは知ってる。ところで唐突に思ったんだが、飛び丸の中じゃ木の実はどういう扱いなんだ？
I already know the answer, man.
そうだな。粗大ゴミ回収は金でももらわねえと割り合わなくなるんじゃねえか。国が無料で回収するのはそろそろおしまいってとこ。
He's just cost too much to dispose of.
はあ？何言ってんのお前。使い古しのタンスとか高く売れるじゃん。俺みたいな開封即使用みたいな男がこれからのトレンドなわけでしょ。ほら、コンビニで売ってる使い捨てカメラとか大人気だし、ようやく流行が俺の消費文明に追いついたと。じゃあ木の実はバイトと。飛び丸は
He's already decided.
ちゃんと俺の時代。
俺はちょいしようだ。親父の客が来てるんで接待しなきゃならん。街の案内をしてくれとさ。
I wonder if that guest will be an important character. Probably not, because this is like already a side thing, but I don't know. That would have been cool.
話聞けよ。よ、俺は妹の相手してやるだけなんだよ。隣のクソ中華飯店の手伝いなんかしねえよ。
その女は明日もバイトか？
Gotta get that money grind.
それが1日空いて
Oh,
これから遊園地でアルバイトだけど
a different grind.
それって魔のきついランド？
It's the kitty! The magic kitty land!
タフだね、しずき。あそこのバイトは柔道部の連中でも値を上げるって話じゃんか。
Oh, wait, is it? I hope it's related to Mr. The kitty suit.
なんとまさか猫黒の荷物運びを
X-Men! Ah.
いや、そこまではよく。しかし、山城の野郎おっせえな。見ろ、隣の B 組すらお帰りになられてるぞ。
だな、仕方ね。面倒だが呼んでくるか。その字を遅刻させるわけにはいかねえし。
Yes, yes, for your boy. As if by design, the moment Tobimaru Tsukiji stood up warily from the balcony railing, the school's PA system chime rang.
2年 C 組の静木宗十郎くん、山城先生がお呼びです。至急職員室まで来てください。
I thought they were all waiting to see
2
him.
年 C 組の
Like, not just Sojiro. An awkward silence fell upon the three. After a long 5 seconds, Sojiro said goodbye and headed back inside.
面白いことねえな。誰か校庭にミステリーサーク
The
ルとか
crops.
作ってくんねえかな。
Summon the aliens now! Kinomi grumbled, slouching his shoulders and succumbing to his lethargy.
他人の妄想力に期待すんなよ。刺激が欲しいならてめえでイベントを起こせ。ほら、クラス分け発表の時よろしく。青崎に突っかかればすぐだぜ。
You can't win a debate against any other people, I think.
蘇るトラウマ、やだよ。会長の大立ち回りは面白いのを通り越して恐ろしいよ。善良な一男子生徒としちゃ美少女が転校してくるだけでいいんだよ。まあ普通の子じゃつまんないからハリウッドのプロデューサーとか。
Oh, yes, of course.
どんなくくりだそりゃ。そこは火星のお姫様あたりにしとけ。
From Mars!
それと
Osuke.
2年 C 組の皆さんへ
Oh,
山城先生から伝言です。
for the entire class.
山城先生は訳あってホームルームを欠席しますので、各自勝手に下校しちゃってくださいね。それでは
Ah, okay.
以上、放送室からお知らせしました。
どうよこれ。山城新車買ってからフリーダムすぎね。このままではあの真新しいセルビアに俺のギザ銃がうなりかねん。
鍵穴にガム程度にしとけ。教師の発給はマジ同情に値するから
Just
な。
put gum in the keyhole. The two frenemies returned to the classroom. I love how they were like, yeah, they're friends, but not really. But they're friends. Complaining all the while. Their concern for their mutual friend summoned to the faculty office, completely out of mind. Meanwhile, on Sojiro's side...
納得いきま
Ah!
せん。生徒のアルバイトは認められています。
Oh my god, I didn't expect her to show up. Oh wow, she's fighting for him to let him have multiple part-time jobs probably.
学校公認の職場であるなら、社会経験の一環として推奨すると校則にもありますが。
そうなんだけどね。
I haven't seen him in a long time.
やりすぎなのが問題なわけで。仮にもし認可していない労働基準法に反してそうなところで働いてたら困るでしょ。うちも彼も。
The volatile tension between them, the ruthless student council president, and the easygoing modern language teacher permeated the room. Praying to be spared from the impending confrontation, the other teachers hurriedly relocated to the meeting room. By the time Mr. Yamashiro noticed this, the only other person in the room was the student council president, Aoko Aozaki.
逃げたか。ひどいなみんな。怖いのは僕に押し付けてばっかりだもんな。
話の続きです、先生。仮に彼が指定以外のアルバイトをしているとしたら、それは彼の要求に学校側が応えていないからではありませんか？下宿先の家賃を奨学金で賄えとは言いませんが、時間の許す限り働きたい という要望は考慮すべきです。指定外のアルバイトを疑うのなら、まず働き先は1生徒につき1件だけという規則を改めてください。
After hearing her outs and realizing there was no way she would back down, Mr. Yamashiro hung his head. This was supposed to be easy. The plan was to call in the student rumored to be working multiple jobs, confirm whether the rumor was true, and if so, give him a warning and some guidance, then head to lunch with the knowledge that all was right with the world. The student council president, who was coincidentally in the faculty room at the time, had heard the entire issue and decided to call out this injustice. As far as Mr. Yamashiro was concerned, she was in the right, and he was well aware of the aforementioned student's situation. Personally, he would have liked to help, but amongst the faculty, he was just the new kid on the block. He wanted to stay on the vice president's good side, and at the very least, not lose his job, as badly paid as it was.
こればかりはね、副教頭先生直々の注意なんで、僕も助けてあげられないんだよ。
それでしたら落としどころがあればいいんですね。
ん？
The student council president removed the document from her bag. She was prepared. It was a document that had been brought up in the morning faculty meeting, bringing a host of headaches with it.
青崎くん、それは。
はい、愛田協会のボランティア参加の申告書です。今月も希望者ゼロですね。敬虔なクリスチャンである副教頭先生はさぞお気を悪くしているかと。我が校の生徒には新人が足りんと今朝も嘆かれていたとか。
そうだけど、どうして君が今朝の職員会議の内容を知っているか聞きたいよ、本当。
I was spying. Mr. Yamashiro scratched his head, but his eyes were smiling gleefully. He had figured out the student council president's objective.
魚心あれば水心ありですか。教会への奉仕活動はボランティアだけど、きちんと謝礼が出る。あれも形の上では学校側が推奨する社会見学だからね。副教頭先生は参加者が出たことに喜び、加えて
その参加希望者がすでに他のアルバイトについていた場合、学校側の認可が2つになっちゃいますね。前例にしてはいい落としどころだと思いますが。
Wait. So they're telling me that in order to stop Sojiro from having too many jobs, they're gonna lecture him. But the compromise is to give him another voluntary job, in addition to his normal jobs, for the normal jobs to be approved. What? If I'm understanding this correctly. Mr. Yamashiro raised his hand in surrender. There were few students able to raise a complaint and propose a proper solution. Perhaps it was her big sisterly disposition that made this girl so simultaneously feared yet trusted.
よし、その方向で攻めてみよう。うまくいくよう祈ってくれよ。
他力本願は嫌いです。悪巧みに乗ってくれるのならきちんと活躍してください、山城先生。
With a bow, the student council president turned to leave the faculty room.
ああ、待った。君も残るんだ。今からしずきくんを呼ぶから、ちゃんと面倒を見てもらわないと。
I don't wanna be in the same room as him. The girl's cool eyes narrowed. Unable to process what she just heard, her expression turned to a scowl.
いや、参加希望者は一人より二人の方がいいだろう？
No.
青崎くんがフォローしてくれるなら、僕も安心だしね。
No.
ちょっと先生。
ああ、放送室。2年 C 組のしずき宗十郎くん、至急職員室に来てください。で、放送お願いします。
だから先生。
Man, if I was Aoko, I would have left the room already.
いやー、これで万全だ。まさか頭痛の種が同時に消え去るなんて、今日はついてる。
That's just BS.
ああ、けど青崎くん、ずいぶん親身になってくれるんだね。何？もしかしてああいうのがタイプ？あ、放送室さん、ついでに生徒会長が心からお待ちしていますと付け足して。
って山城
！Back to his housing. The next day, a pleasant Sunday. Sojiro was awake 2 hours before the time he was supposed to meet her. After getting up, he decided to go for a leisurely jog to clear his mind, but lost amongst his thoughts, his 30-minute jog turned into almost an hour. Upon realizing, he rushed home. After thoroughly racking his brain over what to wear for the occasion, he decided upon wearing his school uniform. Oh, this seems like a really long
午前
one.
10時三崎中央公園の東入り口で待ち合わせ
Yesterday in the faculty room, when Aoko Awazaki had shared the time and place with him that day, she said it with such a pain on... She said it with such pain on her face. Just look at her like... Maybe she was fighting a headache at the time.
しかし青崎の風邪は治っているのだろうか
Sojiro muttered, his words of concern misguided as they were. In any case, he waited for about 5 minutes. At precisely 10 o'clock, the student council president appeared.
おはよういつものことだけど時間だけはぴったりよねあなた
Aww.
ひどい顔ねもしかして気分悪いの
いや体調はいいと思う
He waved off her concern.
だがしかし青崎は制服だった
So are you!
ええ学校の行事だもの当然でしょ
A heavy weight of despondency fell upon Sojiro's shoulders. The angsting over his outfit for the previous 2 hours had been rendered meaningless just like that. I wonder if they just reused the model or if he actually like wore something and wore something different, or he's actually just wearing his student uniform. The duo, clad in their uniforms on a day off, walked by the train station. In the beginning, Aoko had made efforts to give Sojiro a thorough lay of the land, but today she only shared the bare minimum of explanations. This was partly because, surprisingly, Sojiro had become well accustomed to the town. Which restaurants were good, which shortcuts to use in a rush, and why the nearby bicycle shop was better than the department store by the station if you wanted to buy a bicycle. Things a local would know. But the other reason was because it had dawned on Aoko how the two of them conversing might look like... Oh my god. How the two of them conversing might look to a passerby. Oh, she's like, no.
変わるけど具体的にどんな労働内容なのかそろそろ聞いていいかな
From here on, volunteering at the church meant that the school would tolerate his multiple jobs. Sojiro had quickly agreed to the tempting offer, nodding like a bobblehead, but that was typical for him. He had failed to consider the contents of the proposal.
まあそんなことだろうと覚悟はしてたけどあなた間教会は初めて
教会なら2回目だ珍しい建物なんで近寄ったら中の人がタダでお菓子をくれたんだけど
For candy. He pondered with all sincerity how exactly a church worked. His contemplative posture made him appear the part of a philosopher, but after all his thinking, he concluded, I guess they started taking your money on your second wish? That was such the... the church will, they'll give the first one for free, but that's just to grab you. The rest you'll have to pay. Your free trial has expired. Such was the extent of Sojiro's concerns.
普通そういうことは子供にしかしないんだけどねあの教会は
Aoko sighed at the lost little lamb. Is this the same church as the one that Aoko has to go every month? I wonder.
でどんな人に会ったの神父それともシスター
それは綺麗な女の人だった
Oh, she's gonna
じゃあ
react to
ゆい
that.
かさんの方ね
Oh, never mind.
今日会ったらお礼をって必要ないかあんたのことだからそのあたりはきちっとしてるだろうし
I wonder if we'll meet Yuika. They name dropped her, probably.
仕事の話なら簡単よ学校でやってることと変わらないからあの教会規模の割に人数が少ないのよ
Aoko picked up her pace as they headed for the church. Somehow, she seemed like a general invading enemy territory. It made Sojiro's furrow his brows in discomfort. Ah, so that's the church. It looks like a church. Ida Church had a long history. Far from the station, it was a white-painted sanctuary nestled between the businesses and residential districts. As far as Aoko could remember, the church as she knew it now was the result of remodeling done 8 years prior. It was practically a cathedral for the town of this size. Incidentally, located next to it was the Misaki City General Hospital. From Aoko's perspective, it seems awfully suspicious for the church to take up residence next to the location in the city where most of the lives were lost, though the only two who were aware of this opinion were her roommate Alice Kuonji and the priest.
青崎はこの教会に縁があるのか?
Every month.
私はこれっぽっちも。もう過去に戻って改ざんしたいぐらいみじんもないけど。うちの父と祖父は長い付き合い。
Okay, it seems like she's got some spicy history with this place.
ここの手伝いなんて、忌々しいことに小学生の頃は毎日してたもんだけど。
Oh. The more Aoko spoke, the more twisted her expression became. Recalling this just made her want to grab it by the proverbial collar, give it to the proverbial one-armed judo back throw, smash its proverbial head into the proverbial ground, and kick the proverbial living daylights out of its defenseless proverbial torso. Such was her so-called trauma that if it were anthropomorphized, it would take more than 5 rounds. Oh my God. It won't stop. It would take more than a 5-round beating to satisfy her thirst for vengeance. That was a really long description just to say, yeah, I don't like this place. It was in this moment, as he became aware of Aoko's mood, that Sojuro began to fear her. He feared for his safety. Perhaps attracted to the noisy murder of crows outside the church, a woman in a nun's habit emerged from the front entrance. Oh, we do get this.
どちらのお客様でしょう。当教会は暴力団関係の方はご遠慮いただいておりますので、日を改める、あるいは生き方を悔い改めた後、
She's like,
社会的な罪を償ってから門をくぐっていただきたいのですが。
Sorry, we don't have space for criminals here. You can come back when you're clean.
青崎青子です。シスターユイカ。
まあ、青子さんでしたか。
As I said, please clean yourself of your sins before coming here.
驚きました。昼間のうちにあなたが来るのは久しぶりです。
そうですね。いつもは夜に呼ばれて神父様とだけお話をしていますから、ユイカさんとはまあ意外ですね。1年近くまともにお話をしていません。ま、この先だって一度もないでしょうけど。
あなたも随分と
Just look at Sojuro in the background like, huh? They look like they're having fun.
今の気配は清らかな少女とは思えないほど悪辣でした。
Just standing there menacingly. On the surface, the two exchanged congenial greetings. Unable to read between the lines, all Sojuro could see was 2 good friends.
今月のボランティアは私とそこの彼です。親愛なる間協会のためですから。10時から3時まで1分の狂いもなくきっかり働かせていただきますわ。
Wow, that's an extra 5 hours volunteer.
まあ、世も末ですが歓迎しますね。神の家は万人に等しく開くもの。この際、あなたの内面は見なかったことにしておきます。
Oh my god, I love this. The nun flashed a smile that was equal parts elegant and cruel. Keeping up appearances aside, she seemed overjoyed to have able hands to put to work. The sisters introduced herself as Yuka Suse and thanked Sojuro, who had volunteered on his own volition. Sojuro noticed that her eyes were always shut, but not wanting to be rude, especially in front of Aoko, he decided not to pry.
しずきさんとおっしゃるのですね。声のイメージ通り。落ち着いたお名前です。
はあ、それはどうも。
The sister let slip a frown at Sojuro's ambivalent response to her compliment.
失礼。名字で呼ばれるのはお嫌いのようですね。宗十郎さんでよろしいですか？
いや、どっちでもいいですけど。
ではそのように。ほんと、難儀なことですね。
Though the sister's tone was gentle, her words seemed somewhat indifferent. She lacked sight, but she guided the two with certainty in her step.
それで奉仕の内容ですが、分かってます。クリスマス前だし、面倒な掃除を済ませておきたいんでしょ。問題ありません。そういうの得意ですから。
It wasn't their strong suit as much as it was Sojiro's.
では、青子さんはかまどの方で聖兵の作り置きを、しずきさんは外に、私どもでは手の届かない箇所の清掃をお願いします。ちょっと待って、台所にリツカのやついないでしょうね。こんなところであんなのに会うなんてごめんだから。リツカは留守です。ですので、どうぞ気兼ねなく。
Who's Ritsuga? With a dismissive wave, Aoko headed towards the door in the back of the worship hall. As she had indicated, she was quite accustomed to this church.
しずきさんはこちらに。まずは物置から清掃道具を運んでいただきます。
The work entrusted to Sojiro did not require any particular skill. It was window cleaning at its most standard.
窓を全部拭けばいいんですね。
水拭きと空拭き、その後にコートスプレーもお願いします。はしごの高さは足りますか？
あれ、ちょっと足りないっぽいですね。
では届く範囲で結構ですので、よろしくお願いします。
After the brief exchange, the sister returned to the church. Sojiro began to wonder if it was out of distrust in him that she was being so curt. He understood that it was too soon to glean an answer from their first meeting, but then again, such answers always eluded Sojiro. Left alone, but no less encouraged, Sojiro began cleaning the windows. The day's weather was a disappointment once again. It had not gone far as to rain, but was too overcast to enjoy the sun. He leaned against a tall ladder and, beginning with a window about 5 yards from the ground, quietly cleaned. Sojiro was never the kind of person to mind physical labor. In fact, if there had been a blue sky, this might have been a perfect day off to him. Really? By the time he finished his third or fourth window, he felt very relaxed and began to whistle. Though 15 feet was an intimidating height, it provided for a wonderful view at the same time. Turning towards the town gave Sojiro a clear view of the tree-topped hill that had previously caught his eye.
やっぱり林の中に家があるような。
Yes, you should go there. Visit. The hill and the woods just outside the town. From here, the forest overlooking the sleepless city looked like a foreign castle.
あれ？何泥棒さん？
Just then, lost in his thoughts while wiping windows, Sojiro was pulled out of his trance by someone pacing below him. He looked down and saw a girl, her unkempt clothes otherwise contrasting with her kind visage. Oh, that's gonna be the person, yeah.
どっちかっていうとあれかしら。暖炉から現れては微妙にいらないおもちゃを押し付けるセイントみたいな。
Oh, that's definitely gonna be the person that Awazaki was just like, I don't want to deal with her.
うわぁ、私あのヒゲ苦手なのよね。だってどう見ても不法侵入者じゃないあの人。
She looked to be in her late 20s. Despite the cold, she was not wearing a coat. She had no purse either, which was rather strange as a woman and her purse were never far apart. It was rather strange as a woman and her purse were... Okay, that line is kind of bothering me, but whatever. Not that Sojiro knew this truth quite yet. Actually, is this the same church lady that we just saw, but she just changed and she's opening her eyes? Based on the fact that none of this seemed to apply to her, one could have easily surmised that she was herself a little loosey-goosey. A few cards short of a full deck, one might also say.
あ、私ピンときたわ。君、ミサコのバイトの子？偉いわ。今時の高校生は業者さん顔負けなのね。
No, you're mistaken. I'm just your average burglar. The girl looked up in admiration to Sojiro as he stood atop his ladder.
よーし、私も手伝っちゃおうかな。はしごはまだある？他の雑巾は？
どうせだからホースで水をかけるのはどうかしら。こうバーッとケルヒャーとか叫びながら罰当たりだけど、それなら少しぐらいは楽しくなりそうじゃない？
The girl let out a hearty laugh. Her smile glowed like a cactus that had sprouted legs and began to run about. Inasmuch as a running cactus could only cause trouble. As Sojiro anticipated, the girl began to clean without waiting for his approval. Nah, she's not the same nun.
いえ、教会の前を通ったら人影っぽいのが窓にへばりついてるのが見えちゃったの。昼間っから泥棒とか豪快だなって。
Oh man, this is
ちょっ
gonna.
と興味惹かれちゃって。
This episode is gonna be twice the length of the previous one. It's really long.
そしたら可愛い子が真面目に労働してたわけ。窓拭きの達人みたいにビッとかっこよく。そんなの見せられたら手伝いたくなるのが人情じゃない？
Wiping the window next to Sojiro, the girl continued to cheerfully chatter. Although this was all kinds of suspicious, Sojiro politely followed her lead, nodding. Is this the same girl? I don't know. Nodding and agreeing as she spoke. I'm like thinking, is this like, did she change and is this a ploy to make it so that she gets to know Sojiro more? Perhaps it was an instinctive camaraderie. He sensed this girl was just like him, always getting the short end of the stick when it came to menial work.
あなたは教会の人なんですか？
私？いえ、ただの通りすがりよ。それより、あなたってのは他人行儀ね。君とは商店街で何度も会ってるのに。
いや、会ってませんよ。
会ってます。君、魚達さんでバイトしてる子でしょ？今週だけでも何度か行ってるもん、私。
He works everywhere. You don't. You're just one of the many places.
私はそうね、花沢って言うんだけど、君の名前は？
Hanazawa. Hanazawa took a quick glance at the flower bed below in the middle of her introduction, then gave him a friendly laugh. Sojiro's self-introduction, however, was his usual brand of awkward.
宗十郎さん。いい名前ね、古風な感じで。名前に数字が入ってるとなんか日本人って感じがしない？ここの神父さんとかシスターの名前知ってる？エイリとかユイカとかなんか外国風なんだけど。
Maybe she's her sister instead. They look. I don't remember what the priest with the eyes closed looked like. I don't know why. It's only been like 10 minutes. I forgot. But I remember. I think they looked similar.
エイリさんはともかく、ユイカさんは綺麗な黒髪の女の人でしたよ。
あら、神父さんにはまだ会っていないのね。愛田教会の美形神父と美人姉妹って言ったら有名なんだけど。あ、そうか。さては君、最近引っ越してきたんでしょう。しかも一人暮らしと見たわ。
そうですけど、花沢さんすごいですね。さっきからあまりにも的確な当てずっぽうです。
いえいえ、推理と言ってくれたまえ。君ぐらいの子がアルバイトに精を出すほどこの町の娯楽は魅力的じゃないもの。遊ぶお金ならバイト一件で賄えちゃうわ。君は物欲のあるタイプじゃなさそうだし。となるとこれはもう生活費のためと考えるのが健全でしょ。まあ学生さんが生活費も学費も自分だけで賄うなんてのは健全じゃないんだけど。
いや、そうでもないですよ。働かざる者食うべからずです。
そっか。宗十郎さんは若いのに立派ね。私も学生の頃はバイト三昧だったから少しは君の大変さもわかるわよ。
なんと花沢さんも一人暮らしだったんですか？
ええ、親の反対を押し切ってよその国に留学しちゃったの。あっちには友達もいたから下宿先には困らなかったけど、さすがに食費ぐらいは稼がないとね。けどまあこう見えて肉体労働は苦にならないタイプだし、学院もバイトも楽しい思い出になってるわ。
Sojiro nodded agreeably. Dignified or not, he could barely hold back the sense of solidarity that was welling up within him.
これも
も何かの縁だし、魚達さんではこれからお世話になりそうだし、頼りないだろうけど相談事があったらぜひ言ってね。精神面で力になるわ。
ありがとうございます。じゃあ早速ですけど、ここは何をするところなんでしょう。
What did they actually do here? As Sojiro said here, he pointed at the church. Even Hanazawa was taken aback by his question. Unaware of Sojiro's provincial background, combined with her quick-witted nature, Hanazawa seemingly mistook his question for some kind of sophisticated wit.
そうね。
Oh no, and then she's gonna give him like this sarcastic answer or like something like really roundabout, and then he's gonna take it for he's gonna take it as true.
心の安全を扱っているというのはどうかしら。いえ、安全というよりは鎧？継ぎはぎのバリケード？とにかく本人はちっとも鍛えられないってことは同じよね。
A way for people to avoid getting better.
あとはパンとワインも分けてくれるわね。
無料でですか？
もちろん。止めるものは勝手に置いていくって話。あとはそっか、これが一番大きいんだけど、収入に税金がかからない。心の安全は扱いが難しいけど、きちんと売り物にできればノーリスクハイリターンよ。
Oh my god, she's like, it's a business, man.
はあ、よくわからないですけど、ピンチの時はここに転がり込めばいいんですね。
それはおすすめしないな。ご利用は月に1回、気休め程度にした方がいいと思う。
The rags squeaked as the two carefree souls continued to wipe down the windows. Whistling as they went, they shined up one window, then another, then another.
そうだ、もう一つあります。ここから見えるあの森、何ですか？
森？あの山の上にある森のこと？
ですけど、あれは山じゃなくて丘と言うべきです。
As someone who was raised in the countryside, Sojiro's pride would not allow for a mound of dirt to be called a mountain.
そう？あれはあれで結構登るのに体力使うんだけど、ま、そっちの方がよりらしいわね。
It was as if a shadow fell over her till now sunny disposition. She was undoubtedly a beautiful woman with very lovely features. But as Sojiro looked at her in that moment, her smile melted away, and he saw how disturbed she was at his comment. And when it comes down to it,
あれは丘です。それとほら、ここから煙突みたいなの見えますけど、あれは何ですか？
Sojiro was not one to closely watch people's reactions and fuss over his speech.
あれは本物の煙突よ。あの森は全部私有地なんだけど、その中にでっかい洋館が建っているの。でも私有地だから地元の人間も入ったことはないんじゃないかしら。
Damn, the entire forest? Oh, wow.
通称クオンジのお化け屋敷ってね。近所の皆さんは気味悪がってるし、あんまり近寄らない方がいいんじゃない？あんな小さな森なのに遭難したとか野犬が出るとか物騒な話には事書かないから。
野犬って都会にも野犬？
たくさんいるわよ。この教会の裏手の空き地にだっているし、ここの神父さんは物好きだからパンとかあげちゃって、それでワンちゃんの巡回ルートになっちゃってるんでしょうけど。とにかく君子危うきに近寄らずよ。あの森には入らないのが町のルールなの。そもそも私有地だし、入ったらおまわりさんを呼ばれちゃって、そのまま交番でお説教タイムなんてあんまり楽しくないでしょ。
Sojiro nodded along to her story as he stared at the far-off chimney from his vantage point on the ladder. A teeny tiny part of him was curious about that hill because it reminded him of the woods where he grew up, but after reminding himself that it was none of his business, he returned to window washing. Oh my god, okay. Finally back here. Thanks to Hanazawa lending a hand, they were able to finish the job without a hitch. Between the two of them, they had accomplished a simple but very time-consuming task.
はい、ご苦労様でした。あれだけ砂まみれだった窓が見違えたわね。どう？これから適当なサテンでお茶にしない？宗十郎さんの仕事っぷりに敬意を表して、私がおご。
はい。何か言いました？花沢さん。
Wait, okay, wait. What did she say exactly? Why don't we head to a cafe somewhere to get something to drink? I'll treat you as a reward for all your... Yeah, I think that might be the same priest.
いや、ごめんなさい。急用を思い出しちゃった。花沢さんはここで失礼するのでした。チャオ
By the time Sojuro, who had started putting away the ladder, turned around, he was the only able to catch a glimpse of the girl's figure dashing towards the street at lightning speed. It was just before 3 o'clock. More than 3 hours had passed since Hanazawa offered to help. Sojuro watched the girl with many strange faces disappear. For someone who seemed to have been on an aimless walk, Hanazawa had spent a good deal of time with him. Maybe helping Sojuro out reminded her of something that she needed to do.
しずきくん、そっちにいるの？
The student council president popped her head out from the corner of the church.
あ、声かけてごめん。いいから作業に専念。
The sight of Sojuro putting away a ladder taller than himself seemed to have provoked an emotional response from Aoko. There, in an instant, she rolled up her sleeves and began to approach him.
Oh.
This surprised him more than Aoko's sudden appearance. Ignoring Sojuro's bewilderment, Aoko promptly began issuing orders.
はしご、横に倒していいわよ。下の方は私が持つから、あなたは上の方をお願い。
She did all this so matter-of-factly that Sojuro began to lower the ladder before he even had a chance to insist that he could do it all by himself. That was a long day. With work finished and the sisters' thank you gifts. Okay. When it says sister, I wasn't sure if it was the multiple sisters or the sister's gift, like possessive. Sister's thank you gift in hand, the two put the church behind them. Since Aoko apparently had something to do around the station, they decided that they would walk together until they got there.
でも、本当にアルバイト慣れしてるのね。
Beneath the orange-tinged sky, Aoko spoke more as though she was expressing her thoughts out loud than striking up a conversation.
そうか。青崎から見てそうなら少しは嬉しいな。
Sojuro gave her an earnest smile. But then again, he began beaming ever since he had received his pay, so the source of his joy was not so clear.
あのね、あなたは普段が問題ばっかりなんだから、あんまり調子に乗らないように。
学校のことは言われると悲しくなる。
Sojuro hung his head dejectedly. Even if his job had been going well, school was still a bust. Exams were one thing, but even classwork was something that he had found himself falling behind in.
青崎は成績悪いやつは嫌いか？
まあ、頭というか巡りの悪い人との話は疲れるでしょうね。でも、あなたはそれ以前だし、そもそも私にはこれっぽっちも関係ないし。でっかいハンデを何とかするのは先生たちの仕事で、それに応えるのはあなたの役目。アルバイトもいいけど、帰ったらきちんと予習やっときなさいよ。
それはもちろん。学校の人たちはみんないい人だ。
そう、ならいいけど。みんないい人？
Wait, everyone's a good person, what? Aoko cocked her head to one side, unsure how this exchange had resulted in that response. She decided to interpret it as Sojuro simply expressing his gratitude in his own particular way.
ところで、参考までに聞くんだけど、あなた、他にどんなバイトしてるの？
So I work at the pachinko parlor?
どこって商店街が多い。魚のお店とか花の店とか。あ、でも昨日は隣町まで遠出したな。遊園地のアルバイト。
So many, oh my god. Since the only school authorized locations were in Misaki's shopping district, her response was much as she expected. That is, except for the decidedly unexpected last part.
遊園地って安らぎの？
そう。使わなくなった看板とかオブジェとか解体して運び出したんだ。さすがに疲れたな、あれは。
へえ。うん、それは体力勝負でしょうね。
This left Aoko rather impressed. Transporting unused amusement park machinery was not a job that students did willingly in their free time.
でもいいな。私、キッチーランドって一度も行ったことないの。三崎町に住んでるのに。
Aoko looked up in the direction of the neighboring town. From here you can just barely make out the Ferris wheel. Yep, on the bottom left. The round steel frame of the wheel, illuminated by the sunset as it was reminiscent of an old gravestone.
そうか。それは金銭的な理由。
Aoko had to stifle her laughter. She knew it would be rude to Sojiro to burst out laughing, but the remark tickled her funny bone.
そういうんじゃなくて、単純にあれが開園してから立て込んでて遊びに行く暇がなかっただけよ。お金で解決する問題だったらそれこそ今すぐに行ってるわ。
Aoko showed Sojiro the envelope that contained the pay from the church. There was nothing sinister about her remark and gesture, but the fact that she did not jump at the chance to make Sojiro sad.
それなら
Jump at the chance to go made Sojiro sad. Oh, he's inviting her out.
けどそれは無理な話。あんたのことだから気づいていないと思うけど、あれ潰れてるのよ。廃園になってからもう2年以上は経つんじゃない？
And he's working there?
なんと。
It was no wonder there were no customers all the time he was there. Exasperated as she was at Sojiro, the student council president seemed to be enjoying herself. At this point, she would be yelling things at Sojiro like, "I can't believe you didn't know that!" But this evening, this one and only evening, she found it charming. Aww. Aw, that was so nice. They parted ways and Sojiro returned home to his apartment, immersed himself in his studies, and before he knew it, it was time to go to work. The major cultural difference, though certainly not the only point of difference, between the city and country was the use of time. It did not matter what part of the city he was in. Time flowed far too quickly here. Failing to squeeze even a drop of knowledge from his textbook, he put them away for the day before heading into town. The night grew deeper as today turned into tomorrow. Sojiro reversed his collar to protect his neck from the bitter cold and began to make his way back home. Not a soul to be seen. No dogs scrounging for food. No late-night shoppers. Why would there be? The solitary convenience store in the area closed at 11 o'clock. Oh, we finally see him in a different getup. That's pretty cool, yeah. He mustered what little energy he had to take in an especially deep breath. Man-made landmarks lined the deserted street. Garnished blue fluorescent light, brighter than the stars above, illuminated the darkness. An unconscious sense of anxiety stirred within him.
情けない。夜が怖いのは当たり前じゃないか。
A chill crept up his spine as he attempted to mask his weakness with words. Stay out of the dark. Stay away from deserted places. Whether it was for some deeper reason or perhaps the fact that he looked so helpless. Everyone he had met in his life seemed to warn him with those words.
そうは言ってもしょうがないし、大体。
What did that even mean, stay out of the dark? Nowhere in the city was without light. Everywhere from the bustling train station to the remote residential areas was illuminated by artificial light, not least in the main roads. Scary was scary, but this kind of fear was of a different sort than he had felt in the mountains. The most likely source of his fear was the fact that this place was governed by starkly different rules. The way in which the city meted out justice was terribly imbalanced. And to the provincial Sojuro, his lack of familiarity with the laws of the land terrified him far more than the dark. In the mountains, retribution came swiftly to those who broke the rules. Take a game trial, for example. Those who unwittingly trespass on the animal kingdom's domain would, as a matter of course, be savaged by the native wildlife. Accordingly, in Sojiro's mind, an offender paid the price for one's mistakes immediately. It was not a matter of who punished whom, it was simply that one who broke the rules would meet instant, tangible retribution. He felt that, in this regard, the laws of the city were far too ambiguous. One could meet their demise without ever knowing whether one was in the right or wrong.
けど、基本的には変わらないんだよな、多分。
To put it simply, retribution was delayed. To take the analogy a step further, back home in his village, no one individual had been given the responsibility of maintaining order. In the city, however, someone was put in charge of punishing lawbreakers on behalf of the kind-hearted citizens who lived there. While crime and punishment in the mountains were synonymous, in the city, the two were separated, and an unrelated person brought judgment after the crime had been committed. Entering places that must not be entered, seeing things that must not be seen, breaking a law that had consequences, someone would come to exact justice for the law that was broken. The result of all this was that the safest way to survive the city was not to stick your nose into the affairs of others. When people who cared about Sojiro told him to stay away, they probably meant, if you don't, nobody will be able to help you.
といけない。また近道しそうになった。
No matter how much of a nuisance these obstacles were, one could not just climb over a neighbor's fence, even when one's apartment was just the other side. If the people inside happened to be awake and called the police, nobody would lift a hand to help him. With his misguided view of the city, Sojiro once again ended his day in peace. Unable to fall asleep right away, he gazed out his windows upon the night sky from the floor of his apartment. The cityscape had caused him to tremble in fear when he first moved here. The convenience of solving almost any problem with the flip of a switch. The novelty of living a wall away from a complete stranger. It all disappeared into the night sky when he looked up.
こんな空もあるのか。
Unconsciously, he recalled his own words. What dim stars. What a cramped sky. Here, there were no starry nights. Could he even survive here? The same misgivings since his first night continued to haunt him. His eyelids fell shut. Although he was fraught with worry, Sojiro's body felt the fatigue from his work and studies, and thus he fell fast asleep. Wow, okay. Woo! Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm gonna have to split this into two. It's just way too long. It's just way too long. I wanted to do this all in one episode, and honestly, if I started with this, like just this from the beginning, it still would have been super long. Though probably would try to have a super long episode, but because I had to include the stuff from like when Aozaki found out that Sojiro was the witness, it ended up being significantly longer than I thought. So I'm going to have to actually split this into two since it's really long. But that was really like good insight into several of our characters, especially Sojiro. I mean, we also had that really epic scene with Alice, which was really cool. And honestly, the stuff with like here with Aoko and the first part with Sojiro didn't feel as substantial. It was still pretty good. But once I hit parts 3 and parts 4, it really felt like I got to know the characters a lot better. And that scene with Aoko and Sojiro coming back from the church was really nice. I really like the two of them. But yeah, that will be the end of the 7 days of spinning. Next time, we're going to continue with the story, the main story, The Night of Witches 1. Ooh, that sounds really, really exciting. Oh, you can see the amusement park in the background. Oh, wow. Okay, it gives like context to that stuff, and that's really cool. Nice. Okay, now I'm really glad I did this 7 days of spinning. But yeah, we'll tackle that next time. And until then, I will be seeing you. See ya!